In this series, we'll go through all the steps it takes to make a character in Blender. In the last video, we made the body. In this video, we'll make the hands and feet. I made some templates for us to use. So you can see here we have a front edge of hand, we have a back of hand, rear edge of hand, and a palm. So this will make it easier for us to make our hand. You'll notice also that our concept sketch had the hand at an angle. The template has them vertically. Much easier to build hands vertically. I also created a visual step-by-step of sorts. So this shows you step 1, red means you extrude. Step 2 here, pink means you add some loops. And over here, yellow means you do some shaping. So if you take this, for example, here, you extrude the thumb, you extrude the finger, you cut these little slivers for webs between the fingers, and you shape the back of the hand, and you shape these holes where the next fingers will come out. So great reference to, make your hand. So let's get this stuff out of the way here. So we will move that down here. And so step 1, we want to extrude the red part. We also need to add this loop here, so this should actually be red. Okay, so we want to do that. So let's go and do that. So grab our object here, go to edge mode, and let's zoom in. Go to front view. So we also need to, oh, that's not good. Let's go to edge mode, grab that, and flatten it. Beat tools and flatten. Here we go. Face mode, grab this. Let's just move it over to our template. Like that. Use our 3D cursor and move around 3D cursor. Rotate that. Looks really Plastic Man-like, so let's turn off our sub-D surface. And you can see the template is thicker than our hand, so we're going to just roughly match it like that. Edge mode, we'll extrude this and we'll rotate around itself. Extrude again here to roughly the middle of the knuckle. And then let's scale this up and rotate it so it goes from the middle of the knuckle to the middle of the knuckle. I also want to close this up. So hit F and F and F. So this way we have 3 polys with 2 little triangles on the end, and let's cut this. Control R, go to point mode, click, click, and A, click, click, and A. Okay, so that's our basic building block for our hand. I want to scale Y0, just straighten these up. Scale Y0. Let's also straighten these up. Scale Y. This just makes it easier to kind of keep track of everything that's going on. Oops. Scale Y0. Okay. And then I think this is too thick. Let's go to our front view here and move this in just a bit. Back here, we'll move this in also. Yeah, I think that's not bad. Okay. Oh, let's hide our body. It's going to get in the way. Let's go to X-ray, grab everything, Control I, H, and now let's do some more. Okay, so let's see where we are. We've got this done. Now we need to cut some loops. So this one here will shape where the thumb starts, and this one here will be for the knuckle. And this one here will just even it out. So let's go and do that. Go over to our hand again. And hit edge mode and Control R. And get this one around the knuckle. This one over here will be around where the thumb peels out, and this one will be to kind of even things out. Okay, so let's grab some points, make sure we're going all the way through the hand. And let's just roughly shape the base of the thumb. We're not going to go all the way to the edge because we're going to add some geometry in a second. So let's pull these out here. Let's pull these out back here. And get these two. Okay. We want to add this loop cut down the middle of the hand, and this red area here, this is the geometry we want to add to the thumb area. So we're going to inset that. It'll give us material to shape the meaty part of the bottom of the thumb. And it'll also give us material to create a circle for the thumb and the finger. This should actually be yellow, like that. So let's go and make that yellow here for a second here. Okay, so let's go and do that. Let's go and cut that loop first. Okay. So the reason why we want to cut that loop down the middle is because we have 4 fingers, and so we want to have one row for each finger, and we'll extrude each of those for each of the fingers, and then we'll loop tools and make a circle, rotate in R and Z. And the knuckles kind of have an arc shape to it slightly, so let's just rotate it and make that feel like the way knuckles are. We also want to add the geometry to that thumb area, so let's grab some faces here, and we'll have to inset that. Not too much, and then we need to shape it. Let's deselect these. Yeah, that's good. Then we will rotate it around the 3D cursor. Without proportional editing on. Skip and select that. Okay. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Maybe just pull this one out a little bit more. Let's actually make this a circle. So now we've got where we can have a circle, so we can extrude the thumb. So let's pull it down. It's actually, the thumb kind of angles down, so let's kind of angle this down here. Kind of something like that. It can be pretty rough. We're going to fix all this later. Like you can see here, this is way too far in. It should be further out more. But don't worry about that yet. Let's just let's get all of our geometry in place. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do next. Next, we are going to zoom in here. Okay, next we're going to add some geometry for the webbing in between the fingers. Let's do it for all 4 fingers, and then we'll make circles for all the fingers. So let's go and do that. And then we'll extrude the index, pointer finger, and the thumb. Okay, let's go back to our hand here. Let's zoom in. And I think this doesn't look right. I think the finger looks So this finger looks too big. Let's make it a little bit smaller. So this, if you see our sketch here and our highlighted circle here, it's too big. So let's scale it down so it's just a little bit bigger than our sketch. And then we'll put it back in the middle of the knuckle. The reason why we're making it a little bit bigger is a hexagon is rather pointy. When you turn on your sub D, it gets, I don't know if you can see, if you look closely at this here, it gets all smaller. So it's bigger there, smaller there. So when you when we're modeling this and comparing it to our sketch, we want to have it, actually we should make it just a touch bigger. And then let's make it a little bit bigger, then just pull these in so they're not as circular. Yeah, making like that. So now we hit K to cut. The cut tool is, I don't like using it because it seems like whenever I start cutting things, it just slows things. Well, it's kind of a finicky tool, but it also slows things down. So I don't like to use it. But in this case, I think it's going to be faster to use. Control R. Okay, so that's one finger. And let's grab, actually first, this is not lined up right. It's too, I think I tried to line up in the middle of the knuckles and I didn't do a good job, so let's move this now. Oops. So that way it doesn't make it harder for us later. Let's just move these out. Just a bit. Okay, now let's shape our fingers. Face mode, grab this, right click, loop tools, and circle. And let's go to our template and scale it so it feels, well, we'll turn off proportional editing and scale it. And we're turning off proportional editing because we just want to affect just this finger here. And let's see. The knuckles kind of arc slightly, so I'm going to place this in a slightly higher. And we want to make our fingers a little bit not quite as round, so we'll pull it in a bit. Something like that. Yeah. Let's even this out. Okay, so see how I'm evening this out? I've just started to waste time. So let's move on here. K, K, K. Cut, cut, cut. Cut that. Edge mode. Click that. Control Alt. Oops. R. Okay. Grab our next one. Right click, loop tools, circle. Let's scale this down. So it's just a bit bigger than our finger. That, pull it back here. So it's in the middle of our knuckle. And then let's pull this up and rotate it so it's curving nicely. And let's go to edge mode and transparent mode and pull these points so they're not overlapping. Like that. I think this needs to be a bit more over there. And this needs to be a bit wider because the pinky is going to be smaller than this finger. And I think this finger is bigger than that one slightly. Let's do that. Let's cut this again. Enter, edge, click Control R, face mode, grab these two, right click loop tools and circle. And let's go to this here, make sure it's way too big, so let's make this smaller and bring it back. Looks pretty good here. Got a lot of overlap here. I think it curves nicely. Well, maybe a little bit too much. It curves nicely, but I hope it's not too small. I feel like that's a bit too small. Okay, so we've got these fingers all shaped, and we've got the material for the web in place. This is all crooked, but we'll fix that later. And what else do we have to do for this step? Let's see here. Oh yes, extrude the thumb and the finger. Okay, so let's go and do that. So we'll grab our hand again, zoom in. Oh, this needs to come back. Okay, grab our finger here and go to this. Let's just extrude that. You know what? Let's extrude it straight down. You know what? Let's not use this finger. This finger is curving slightly. This one looks like it comes straight down, so let's just use that one for our first finger. And I think this too needs to come down with proportional editing. And this one a bit also. Okay, so let's grab our finger here. Extrude this, GZ, turn off proportional editing, GZ, and just pull that down. In this transparent mode, scale it like that. Let's square it up. Let's see. Scale Z0, scale Z0, scale Z, Z0. Let's round it up. Okay, and go down a bit more. Okay, so we've got our basic finger right there. And how much detail do we put in here? 2 loops. So let's get our template first. Line up the template. Let's go to X-ray so we can see it better. And Control R. We'll put the first loop where that big knuckle is. Control R again, we'll put it where this knuckle is, and I want to flatten this, so we'll go Loop Tools and Flatten, and Loop Tools and Flatten. Okay. My finger gets a little bit smaller at the tip, so let's just taper it down slightly. Nice and elegant. And I think the fingers curl a bit, so let's just curl them a little bit here. Let's go to X-ray again. And face mode, grab that. Grab a 3D cursor, rotate around 3D cursor, and just, you know what, I should pull this one first. Rotate it down slightly. Then, can't see here. Okay. About that. I think we rotated too much. And right click, grab that, and rotate it a little bit more. Let's pull that up. Let's see. Look like if, whoa! It looks kind of like like it's giving a rude gesture. Okay, so we got the finger. Let's extrude the thumb. Grab this here. Go to the side view. Extrude. Rotate. Oops. Rotate around itself. And scale it down so it matches our sketch. The X-ray, make sure it's a bit bigger. Okay, extrude it again. Maybe here. Scale it down a bit more. And then extrude it one more time. Scale it in there. And let's pull in the thumb. So it rounds nicely. Okay, so it's a little rough, but it's okay for now. Make sure we're in the right place. Okay. Oh, I forgot something. Okay, so we're rotating the thumb so it's in its natural position. So you can see how the thumb kind of points towards the index finger. So we didn't do that. That's kind of naturally how it's, I guess, positioned in the body. So let's go and make sure we don't skip any of our steps here. So let's grab that and rotate it with proportional editing on to point to, oops, not that much. Let's grab this, turn off proportional editing, and rotate that a little bit more. And maybe rotate this one a little bit also. So I'm trying to rotate this view so that it's like I'm looking straight at some parallel to this this selection, so it rotates nice and even. Okay, great. So we've got a thumb and a finger here. And then what is next? Okay, so next we can shape the back of the hand. We're also diverting this loop. So if you look here, we added, over here we added that cut in, but our arm up here doesn't have that, so it's gonna cause complications. So we want to basically dissolve this edge here and this edge there. So to do that, you just divert it. So over here you can see we added a loop here, and we added a face here, and we just have this loop coming around. So we'll just do that. We've done it a whole bunch of times already. Let's just do it again here. So go over to our hand, grab that, and we'll grab these, and X dissolve edges. And we'll grab these and delete them. I think it's these two. X faces. Oops. X faces. And then we will hit this and hit Control R. Okay. And we'll go to point. Oops. Point mode. F. And FF. Well, oh, shoot. So when we dissolved that edge here, it didn't dissolve the points. So if we go to point mode, you can see there's still a point left over where that edge was. So just grab those, X, and dissolve vertices, and then go back to edge mode, hit F, and we are clean. So F, edge, FF. All right, now our topology is clean. So next we will, let's find it here. Next we will add this red racetrack starting at the palm and going all the way through to the other side of the palm and through all the fingers, or at least where the fingers come out. Okay, so let's go to edge mode. Let's delete these. Unselect that, and unselect that. We'll go to Control B to bevel. Actually, hold on. I want to get into a view where I can see it better. Like that. Control B, and that looks pretty good. Go to point mode, and we'll click, and A. Click, and A. I realize there's triangles there, but we will fix that later. Let's make sure we're running through all this okay. And we will shape it. Okay, so next up, let's see what we got. So we just add the racetrack, and now it looks like, okay, so the racetrack resulted in two triangles. There's one here, and there's one there. So in the next step, we're taking out those triangles. So here we have a four-sided, and here we have a four-sided, by doing all of this stuff in between. So we'll go and do all of this stuff here. And it also, we get some loops going across to make the crease in the hand. And we add a crease up here. But first, let's take out these three-sideds. And let's see, where's our three sides? It's right there. It's pretty small. Let's pull these down a bit. Okay, and there's one there. So what we will do is we will delete that one, and that one. Cut it. Cut it. And cut it. So now we have four sides there, and then we will use this to make the crease a little bit. And then attach that. And how do we close this up here? Okay, that closes there, and that closes there. Okay, so we've got that all closed up. Let's see what's next here. So here you can see these faces. We needed just a bit more geometry. It's a little bit, this is a little bit skewed here. So we added these faces to give us more material to shape the back of the hand with. So we can do that next. And then we can also start to shape the fingertip and then cut the whole finger off so we can add these details. So let's start doing that. So go to our hand here and zoom in. And you can see this back of the thumb looks totally different because we didn't take any time to shape this. So let's take a second to shape this, just a touch. And let's see here, go to this view and proportional editing and move this out to match just a bit. Okay. And let's see here, let's check the front view. The thumb's way too flat. You can see the thumb comes out from the hand, so let's do that also. So we'll grab these guys. Put in the 3D cursor. So now, let's rotate around the 3D cursor. So now it kind of we can pull it down and we can rotate it. Maybe pull that down a bit. Wait, I want to leave that here, so let's do something like that. Yep, and you can see now we're getting the same condition here, where this is, it's not as bad here, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think we could use that geometry. There, cut this. We got two triangles, and scale it in a bit. So now we got a little more material to shape the back of the hand. Yeah, nice. Let's shape fingertip a bit here. X-ray. Okay. And this in a touch. Now let's cut the finger off. X-ray here. Mesh separate by selection. Go back to object and edit. So from here we want to, step one is to add the loops so we can bend the finger. And then inset the fingernail area so we have a loop running around the fingernail. So let's go and do that. So before we start, let's square this up. We're going to use this finger for all 4 fingers, and it'll be easier if this was all parallel. So let's do that. Scale Z 0 and rotate that and scale it out a bit. And scale Z 0, rotate it a bit. Let's grab this, scale Z 0, rotate it a bit, scale it out. And these down here are getting kind of shapy like, so let's do this. Scale Z 0 and Shift R. Thank you to, I'm going to mangle your name, Optiop, one of the commenters, gave this great tip. If you hit Shift R, you can redo the last command. This is a real time saver. So thank you for that. Apologize for mangling your name. Okay, so this is all squared up and nice. Now let's go and, what was it? That's right. We want to add some loops so our finger can blend. So Control B, pull this out, scroll the mouse wheel, and that looks pretty good. For here, we will just add some loops with Control R and Control R. Oh, and let's use our new hotkey here. Shift R. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, maybe it doesn't work all the time, but Control R works just as good. Is that better, or is it better? Nope, I think it's better down here. Okay, let's move these forward just a bit. GX. Okay, let's see how this looks next to our template. Since we moved things around a bit, and it's a little bit different, probably doesn't matter too much. Let's just shape it just a touch. Let's move this fingertip in some. Okay, I think that's good. Pull that back down. So now our finger is nice and square, and I think we also need to inset this thing. So the tops, the back end of fingernails are kind of rounded. So if we inset this, it'll make a weird shape, which is not very fingernail-like. So let's do this. We will grab these and pull them forward. And I think we'll also, no, we'll do this later. Yeah, no, we'll do it now. We'll pull this forward a bit or down a bit. Okay. And now I think if we inset this, it'll feel a little bit more fingernail-like. Let's grab that, Alt S to push it in. And then let's pull this one in too. Okay. So let's see what's next. So next up we've got, let's see here, let's put our colors on. Okay, so we are scaling in this, well, we're adding a loop cut here, and then we are scaling in the fingernail so we can get some flesh on either side of the fingernail. And then after we do that, we are, looks like we add one more loop cut and then scale in some more and pop in the flesh below the fingernail. So let's go and do all that. Okay, so back to our finger, and it was add a loop. And let's scale it a bit. Let's hide this. Back to our finger, L. Let's pull this back up. And so we can move it to the side. So I think we want to scale this in so it rounds better. Scale Y. Not that much. Scale Y, so wait, scale Y. So I'll have the nail on top coming in a bit, and then back here it'll come back in more. Because I think the fleshy part is more rounded and the nail is a little bit sharp. We've got that. If their nails curve down a bit, so we will pull this down just a bit. Okay, then we had one more loop cut here, Control R, and we scaled it in. Scale Y. And then scale this in. Scale the whole thing in. And move it down a little tiny bit. And then we'll push in the fingernail, the skin below the fingernail. So get this down here. Something weird going down here. Faces. Okay, that looks better. Let's pull this in. So we kind of roughly indicate a fingernail. Let's see how it looks with our sub D turned on. So this definitely won't hold up to close inspection, but for a rough, like a low poly model, it'll be fine. So since we're going to be using this finger for all the fingers, let's just take a second to sculpt it. Let's pull these in. Let's take a second to shape the rest of it, because we're going to use this for all the fingers. And again, it probably wasn't totally necessary, but it gives us a nice clean start for all of our fingers. I think we can pull this down still a bit more. Do we want her fingers more knuckly from the front? Let's see here. Maybe a little bit. So let's pull these in. Okay, just a touch. Okay, I think we have a good foundation finger to do the rest of our fingers. Let's Alt H, bring our hand back. Okay, next we will duplicate this finger and scale them and position them in place so that it looks natural, and we'll put a thumb in place. So first we will duplicate this and keep this finger around because it might be useful one day. And then let's delete this mirror so it just makes it easier to zoom in. And let's move this over here. There roughly. Move around our 3D cursor, rotate that slightly, and scale it. So this, well actually let's duplicate this, because we know that our middle finger will line up well. That's when we started off modeling. We'll place that. Then here we'll scale the index finger just a bit smaller than the middle finger. We can just go and do all these. Duplicate. Rotate that a bit. Scale this in a bit also. We want to scale this in the, okay, so it scales funny because we have all these transforms on there. But what we can do is change this to local transforms, and SZ, and it should just get shorter. So local transforms it around the selected object's
local X, Y, and Z, and global is the world X, Y, and Z. And I need these knuckles to be outside the hand a bit so I can see what's going on. So let's just move those out and see where I want these knuckles. So the knuckles kind of take this arc shape. So I think that should be a bit lower. That's good. Then let's line these up in the front. The fingers aren't all straight either. They also follow a slight arc. So if you look from the very bottom, these should be somewhat shaped like that. And the fingers kind of rotate. So let's pick this guy and rotate it in a Z a bit. And rotate in the Z a bit. And same thing for this guy. Let's do this. So if you hit RZ, it rotates along the, I have local selected here, so it rotates along the local Z, which might be what you want or might not. If you just hit R, it rotates it based on the view you're looking at. So I think rotating it in the view I'm looking at is what I want right now. And then I think I want this. So I'm kind of checking this sketch back here. You can see we are not lined up with that sketch at all, but I can look at it and see what kind of it feels like, and then make it feel like the same way in your CAD. So this here, I'm just hitting R and rotating. So now let's go and add our thumb. So you can see here we have just one ring here. Then we have a thumb up to the first knuckle. So what we'll do here, we will select these faces and the tip X faces. We will grab a finger, shift duplicate. We will delete everything up to the first knuckle. Okay, and then we will get this to line up with it, and he's got a little tiny, oh, okay, so I'm trying to rotate this thumb, and it's like, whoa, why is this not rotating around itself? It's because the origin is way down here, and we don't want that. So if you go to Object, Set Origin, and Origin to Geometry, it puts that orange dot back in the middle of whatever you have selected. So now it rotates more like you'd expect. Does that feel like it's the right angle? I think it's not bad. Maybe it wants to rotate in a bit more. So grab that, set 3D cursor, rotate around 3D cursor, and let's rotate this in like that. And I think that's pretty good. Okay. Okay, so the fingers are overlapping the hand, but I want to get rid of these sub Ds. So I took one finger, deleted the subdivision modifier. I'm grabbing these other fingers with a sub D, and then I grab the finger I just deleted the sub D, hit Control L, and make links modifiers. and it just copies the last object selected. So all the modifiers are now gone. Okay, now let's grab these fingers and go to edit mode, and we will grab these, turn on proportional editing, and move these down a bit. I think the fingers and the hands were pretty good, but they're just barely overlapping. So I'll move the fingers a bit, I'll move the hands a bit. Oops. Delete these faces here. So let's delete these, so we'll have a hole for all the fingers. And go back here. Go to point mode. And let's just move, like really roughly, just move this to match it. So we got proportional editing on, and move this up. Move that there. Move this up a little bit. I kind of just clicked here because I was pretty sure there's a vertice there. You can see when you click, it turns orange. If you don't know your geometry that well, or you're not that lucky, you can make it, and you can go to X-ray mode and just click it that way. Okay. Let's grab this here, pull that out of the way. So this is really not lining up too well. You can see the webbing. This webbing here wants to be in between the fingers. So let's just get that to be closer. Doesn't have to be exact, but closer is good. I think this finger here looks a little bit big. So let's scale it down just a touch. Scale it around itself. I think this is a bit big too. Okay, so let's grab our fingers, grab our body, Control J. So now they're all attached. Then we'll go to, now we need to connect all these. So we will, let's see, what do we want to do? We want to go to edit mode, go to point mode. So for each of these fingers, you can see there's the finger floating in space, and then there's a hole that attaches to the finger. So for each one, we want to decide, do I want the hand to pull up to the finger? Do I want the finger to pull down to the hand? So for here, I want to go to the finger and MA, oops. So you click the first one that you want to keep, click the second one that you want to move, and hit M and then A. Okay. Now, since I've just did that merge function, I can use Shift R. So we'll click the finger that we want to keep, the one that we want to move, and hit Shift R, and it just moves in place. Okay. Now here, I think I want to keep this one. Okay. I want to keep this one. It's a little bit tedious here. Okay, so those are all joined. And then let's join this thumb here. So remember this little racetrack here going along all the edges of the fingers? Let's make sure that one lines up with this one here. And it looks like it's pretty close. And I think I want to keep this I think the thumbs, yeah, so I want to keep this one here and move that one. Oops. So I did something else, so I lost my Shift R memory. So we'll hit MA. And now we have our Shift R in memory, so we can just hit Shift R as we go. So now our thumb is attached. And lastly, we did this kind of out of order, but lastly we need to add these little bevels just to give a feel of the way the skin folds. So we're going to add this one right here, and then this one right here. We've already done all this. So let's go to here. You can see this little triangle comes to a point right where that racetrack is. So we'll get that one in shape. And this one here, well, it goes over the racetrack. So we'll make sure we get that one right there also. And then this little bevel here, really it's a middle section with two triangles. It's kind of mangled, but so there's only one little section there that's a bevel. So we'll get that in place too. So back to our hand here, zoom in, and we will grab that because that little triangle just touches the racetrack. And then we'll come over here, and this one went through the racetrack, so we'll grab that. And then Control B, and just, okay, I made a mistake. Okay, we want to have the selection one space short of where you want to end. So I want this to end here, so I'll have one space in between. And I want this bevel here to end right there, so I have one space in between. So Control B and drag it like that. Scroll the mouse wheel one time. Then go to edge mode and select that little guy and this little guy. X dissolve edges. So now we have a quad, and click, click MA, and click, click Shift R. Let's pull that back a little tiny bit. And then scale this in. Then also we need to have a little crease here. Remember, there's just one crease in the middle, and these two just are triangles. So Control B, oops. Grab that guy, scaled in slightly. Why did that scale in like that? Oh, okay. I must have hit Alt Scale by accident. If you Alt Scale, it scales it in normal, like that. If you hit Scale, it just scales it in towards whatever this says. So I want to scale it just in towards itself, and then Alt Scale so it comes down. Okay, so now we've got our two creases. And I think that is it for the hand. I do think we need to spend a moment to get this a little bit better in shape. It's looking pretty rough. Let's go to Sculpt mode. Let's make sure our shift is not set too high. Okay, 0.14, it's good. Let's go to Elastic. I love that tool. And shift to smooth things out. And let's get this to, let's kind of feel a little bit nicer. I like using the elastic tool a lot. So you can pull things out and stretch it around. You can also use this tool here. This tool's really, I gotta say, it's not the best user experience here. So if you go to Tool, if you have it set to plus, it adds and it inflates things. If you have it set to subtract, it deflates things. Really kludgy to work with. It works, but it's not, it's not just smooth and slick. I still love Blender. I'm just saying that one little detail is not great. Okay. This should come down a bit. Shorter. We don't have knuckles. Kind of a low poly model, or low-ish. Oops. Okay, so I don't know if you can see what's going here. I'm holding shift down and it's not really doing much. You can see it's doing stuff for the thumb, but not the finger. There's a weird bug. So if you notice that parts are smoothing and parts aren't, hit Alt-H and then try it, and then it works. I don't know what that is. I don't know why that happens, but it does. And so if you get that, hit Alt-H, it'll look the same, but it'll work. Weird little bugaboo, little Blender bugaboo. Let's pull that in. Oh yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, that's better. All right. But I think I want to, yeah, okay. Pull that in some, grab these, leave that one. No. Okay. Okay, check it against our templates. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Check it against that template. The thumb's in a very different position. I think we should actually fix that. Okay. I think that was too much. I think that's good enough for now. Sorry. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. Let's pull this back in place. Go to the front view. And you know, before I do that, I'm going to take this and duplicate it and mesh separate by selection, just so we have that. So if you ever need a hand later, you've got it. Okay, so let's get that there, rotate that so it's roughly in place. I think her hand is a little bit too low. Okay, I think that hand feels good. Let's hide this template. Hide this guy here. And her arm looks really stiff, so let's just flex this Turn on proportional editing, click middle of the elbow, get this guy here and rotate it just a bit so that way when we put the skeleton on in there, it won't bend all funny. You want to have the elbows and the knees bent slightly. I think that looks pretty good. Let's make some feet. Turn off our sub D. You can see our sketch has her wearing heels, but I like to model feet flat and rig feet flat. So I created these templates. You can find them in the link below. Just place them roughly like this and like that. Okay, so let's grab our foot edge mode, grab that, scale Z. We're just going to extrude Z. We're going to roughly block in the geometry for the foot. Scale in the Y a bit, move it in the Y. Extrude Z, rotate, scale Y, G, scale a bit more, extrude Z, scale Z 0. Okay, let's see here. So I like to have, let's see, turn off X-ray, 1 face per toe, so we need 5. We have 4 here, so we'll need to add 1. But for now, let's just roughly get this in shape. Scale X, G, X, scale X. Let's flatten that a bit. Scale in the Y. Something like that. Fix that later. Okay, then we will extrude this again. Turn on 3D cursor and vertex snapping. Drag, shift drag left click and scale in the Z so we can roughly shape that. And then let's scale it out. Scale in the X a bit more, like that. And let's see, do I want to add 1 more here? I think so. So we're going to add 1 more face here. We're just going to extrude this and pop it out. So this way we have 5 faces for the toes. And let's see here. We will extrude that again, scale it in the Z. So I want to get each of these faces to line up with each of the toes. So let's go and do that. Let's go to this mode, X-ray grabs this. Control I and H to hide everything else. Go to top view and got these eyes in the way, so let's hide those. Go to vertex mode and let's just roughly move these all in place. What? Oh. I'm not going to make the foot bulge out that much. I don't like that. Okay, so roughly something like that. Let's move this over here like that. And let's see how we look in 3D. So we're a little rough. Oops. Double hit, turn off vertex snapping, double hit G to pull these. Well, let's pull all of these down. let's see, let's pop these out. Alt S. Pop these out. Alt S. Something like that. Let's go to Sculpt mode and hold Shift and just smooth things out a bit. Go back to Edit. These need to go back a bit. And Y. Okay. Maybe that one too. Okay, so we've kind of roughly got a foot shape here. And then we need to add some toes. So we will go to where that finger we saved somewhere. I think that was it. Take that, Shift duplicate, hide that first one. We will delete our sub D and our mirror, and we will move this roughly in place. Our origin's way down there, so let's pull that back to the middle. So Object, Set Origin to Geometry, and zoom in, rotate Z, -90. Let's rotate it around itself, rotate it X, rotate it Y, -90. Okay. So we've got our toe, our digit here, and we don't need all of this. I think we just need, we'll delete that, and then L, X, faces. Okay, so we want to attach these, now they're not fingers anymore, now they're thumbs and toes. So we want to attach this toe to each of these faces. So each of these toes has 8 sections all the way around. So we need to change this from 4 to 8. So let's go and do that. So remember this little band running across all the fingers? We can add that back in here. So we will do that. So we'll add one here and one there. It's roughly the same size. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we've got 8 sections. So we match our digit. Let's also add the webbing in between here. Oops. Just like we did with the hands. And I think we want to add a cut here first. Okay, now we'll do this. So grab all of these. It's Control B. Yeah, there we go. Roll the mouse one time. And then we will delete X, dissolve edges, point mode, then click, MA. Click, right shift, click, right shift. So I have a hotkey for right shift, so I just do the one command, which was, click, and then MA, and then after that you can just quickly hit your hotkey and it just goes. Okay. Little shape. Let's shape these so they're roughly little circles or little rough circles. Right click, loop tools, and circle. And let's go to the front view, rotate this in. Let's grab this guy, scale it in the X. Same thing, loop tools, circle, rotate it. I think this whole toe is smaller than the big toe, so let's do that. Pull it in. Right click loop tools and circle. So just getting these roughly to be in place. Loop tools, circle, rotate, scale. Oops. Scale in X. Right click loop tool, circle, rotate, scale this down. Pinky toe is the smallest. I think they kind of rotate in a bit. Let's see. That one maybe is a bit higher. Maybe it goes out a bit wider. And let's make this okay, so let's go to 3D view before I noodle that too much and make sure it's not weird. It's a little weird. So let's see, let's go to edit mode and sculpt mode, and let's turn the strength down. Oh, that's okay. So we will just hold shift and just really lightly just smooth it out. Okay. Let's check our side view here. We're really low, so let's pull the whole thing up. Okay, and I think let's also pull this out to line up with our template. So you'll see the side view template. I'm not following it that close, but I'm following this closer. So a lot of times you'll find that the two views don't match. So you kind of pick one that you think helps you more and follow that closer. So in this case, I'm matching this view more than I'm matching that view. And these kind of are no longer circles. So let's just roughly get them back in shape. It's good enough. Let's delete these. X, delete faces. Okay. So then we just need to attach our toes. Well, let's close up this first. So let's see. We are going to go to point mode, and we're going to click a point and hit F. Oops. Oh, come on. F. Let's just go around. And then let's see here. Let's go and add one. Let's close that. Then let's do that and that. And then let's just hit F a few times and see what happens. Oh, it closed. Okay, there you go. Let's go to sculpt mode and smooth that out a bit with the shift key. And now we need to let's duplicate these toes and scale them so they look like these toes, and then attach them. Okay, let's shift D, move this over, and go to the head's in the way, so we'll go to the bottom here. Oops. And let's scale this big toe up to be roughly the right diameter or thickness of the sketch. And let's scale in Z to be roughly the right thickness. And let's see, also we will rotate this kind of like that. And then let's see, so the big toe knuckle is kind of right there, so let's get our knuckle to be roughly in the same place. And then let's do a little, well, let's check here. Okay, let's rotate this a bit. And move it down some. So still a bit skinny. And also, let's check this. Let's double hit G and pull that back. So we also want to get the opening for the big toe to match the opening in the foot. So let's scale it down just a bit. It can be, rough, but let's make it vaguely close. So scale in the Y, G in the Y. So it's roughly in place. I also want to make this toe thicker in the front. I don't want to lose the geometry for the toenail. So let's just grab this geometry here, turn proportional editing on and Sculpt in the Y, and scroll our mouse wheel so we can kind of shape it like we want it to be. So something like that. And then let's make this toe smaller, scale in the Y, the toenail smaller. And then let's make the toenail smaller more. By scaling it in some. And let's just take a look with the sub-D, so subdivision. Yeah, okay, that's all right. I don't sweat the toes that much because you don't see them that much, so it's pretty rough. Okay, so we've got one toe, and let's go and add the rest. We have the big toe, let's add the rest of the small toes. So Shift D, same deal, let's go to the bottom view and scale it so it's kind of the right thickness, and scale in Z so it's the right length. I think the knuckles, there's actually a knuckle here, but well, I'm not going to do that. These won't be anatomically correct toes. Scale in the X. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's delete that. If possible, I like to have the geometry without the subdivision modifier. I like to have it separate, not overlapping. So I'm just checking to see if we're overlapping. And let's see, let's pull this back a bit here. Edge mode. Double hit G and pull that down some. Let's make this match the same width of the hole in the toe. So scale in the Y. And let's make this toenail let's make it a bit thicker in the front and then make the toenail smaller. So scale in the Y. And let's also make this smaller. I'm making this narrower so that way we have less overlapping with this toe. And then I'm going to make the whole thing a bit wider. Scale Y. Kind of like that. We're touching, but oh, we're almost, yeah, we're kind of touching here, but I think that's okay. Let's make this smaller and reduce the proportional editing, so we're just getting just the toenail, and Sculpt in the X, Y, Z, and G, Z. And let's just pop, oh, it's a little weird looking. Let's put a sub D on there just to take a look and see what it looks like. And yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, no one looks at toes anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. So I think that's okay. And later on we'll put some color on a toenail, so that'll create some delineation between the fleshy part of the toe and the toenail. So I say good enough. And I kind of like this toe, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it here, scale it down some, maybe a bit more, and scale it in Z so it's a little bit longer. Yeah, a little bit longer still. And position it roughly like the sketch. And let's edit the edge of this and rotate it a bit. Let's pull this in a little bit. Scale Y. Okay. Shift D, we're getting there. 2 more toes to go. Let's scale the whole thing down some. Move it over, and what's this doing? Ah, toes all bent. So put that there. Let's check this. I think it's better like that. I think that feels a little more natural. We'll have to fix this overlap, but let's just get this, let's get through all these. Let's grab this, Sculpt in the Y, G in the Y, get that double hit G, pull it back. Okay, so we can attach that later. And then we will Shift D one last time, scale this down. So the pinky toe, little toe is there. Let's pull this in. Let's rotate it a little bit. And oh, it's a little tiny toe. Pull it down some. Rotate it down some. Let's rotate this too. So yeah, we're just getting these all in shape. And I think that's pretty good. Okay. So I think that's pretty good. Then we can go and attach all these. Oh, we want to fix that overlap. Let's grab this, go to X-ray mode, grab some of that, G, and just pull it over. Same thing here. Pull it over. Okay, so we will shift click the toes, shift click the body, Control J to join it. Let's isolate with the slash button, go to edit mode, zoom in, and now we need to attach this loop here to that loop there. And I'm going to just thought of a way to make it easier. So let's just grab all of these, X, delete, vertices. Okay, there we go. And then let's just click a couple edges, F, and then F, and then close it. Oh yeah, that's easier. If you're making hands later, just do this. This is a lot faster. Okay, so that's our toes. A little bit weird. I think these gaps are too big, so let's go to point mode and make them smaller. Scale it around itself. Let's see, Alt S. Okay, so we'll do Alt S and also S to just pull all these points in between the fingers in towards each other. And maybe we'll do the same thing for these. Oops. Okay, let's go to Sculpt mode. So we're just going to do a little bit of sculpting. Oops. Let's see here. Shift to just smooth it out. Smooth it out, smooth it out. And I think that's pretty good. Maybe that comes out. Maybe. Oh, so you see it's scaling funny? That's that weird Alt-H problem. So I hit Alt-H, and now it pulls normally. Okay, so we've now got hands and feet. Just realized I forgot the ankle bone, so let's bring back our templates with the slash key. Turn off our sub Ds. And let's go to side view here and X-ray so you can see in our sketch we have an ankle bone, and the ankle bone should be more in the middle of the foot, not way back towards the back. So I'll fix that for you guys that download this template. But for now, we'll just use this. So we will, I think it needs to be lower. Yeah, lower. So we will put a loop here, put a loop there. Make this roughly more circular, like that. And then we will go to face mode, inset, and Alt S to pop that out a bit. Then we will pop these two back in, Alt S, something like that. The ankle bone, if you can see the sketch here, it's got a bone on both sides and it kind of slants from the middle downwards to the outside. So we want to get this one here a little bit higher than the one on the outside. So we'll just GZ and pull that up a bit. And then let's also make this a little bit more circular, kind of. Let's make this match. Okay. Face mode, inset, Alt S, pop that out, then pop these back in, like that. Okay, let's see here. I think our whole ankle area is too wide, so let's turn on proportional editing and just scale this whole thing in some, like that. That's a bit better. Yeah, that's a bit better. Let's go to Sculpt mode and just shape it a little bit more. And I think this inside of the foot looks really flat. And I'm looking at my foot. It actually is pretty flat, but I think we need a little bit more shape here. Let's see here. Okay, that's feeling a bit better. Yeah, okay. Let's go back to object mode. Bring back all that stuff, turn on our sub D. Okay, there we have it. She's got feet. That's it for our video today. I hope this was helpful to you. If you want to see more content like this, leave a comment, subscribe, or better yet, support me on Patreon. In our next video, we will work on the hair.